God, you gotta love Yes. Remember that band? One of my favorite bands from back in the day. I guess I'm showing my age right now, right? Gotta love that band. But I digress. 866-582-9933 is the number to call. I am Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. Please visit the website of the same name, fireyourmdnow.com, and click on the longevity button and join our cause. Click on the health subscription information tab, see what we're up to, purchase a monthly subscription to the best health recovery information on the planet. Inform yourself about science-based, clinically verified, home-based therapeutic stuff you can do right now at home without a doctor's visit, without a doctor's appointment, without a copay, to support and promote the health of your body. You're going to love how you feel. We're going right to the phones now. Ashley is up with a question about, I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but in any event, welcome aboard, Ashley. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Actually, I have a question and I have a bit of a testimonial. First of all, you were just talking about the root beer belly, and I have to say I love that stuff. I've never really had any success with probiotics in the past, and I've taken them on and off. Never really saw a difference, so I didn't know if it was working. I started the root beer belly about a month ago, and within 2 weeks of taking it consistently every day, I actually noticed a change in my constitution. I don't want to get into too many details, but let's just say it was a really positive change, and I've noticed ever since I started taking it. So I'm really happy about that. And actually, I do have a question about that. I know you've been talking about it, but if someone notices a positive change, can they just keep taking root beer belly all the time, or should they just, like you said, just do it 4 times a year, or is it okay if I just keep taking it?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. And by the way, this is what drives us forward is results, right? So when you do the right stuff, your body responds. When you do the wrong stuff, your body, nothing happens. And so this is the great thing about longevity, because it produces results consistently. And so, you see more bowel movements a day, more improvement, less straining, less diarrhea, less liquid stool, more like it's supposed to be. And it's a gross thing to talk about, but hey, what the heck? As long as it's getting better, then life is good. And, this is what drives us forward, results, number one. Number two, there's no harm and no foul in taking the root beer belly every day for the rest of your life, but it's not mandatory. Right? It's kind of like when you change the oil in your car. You don't need to change the oil in your car every day, but you do need to change the oil in your car every 3,000 miles or so. At least that's the popular opinion. It's more or less the same with the beneficial bacteria in the gut. Now, once, if there's a problem, if things aren't right with your digestion or elimination, then I would recommend you in addition to the 90 essential nutrients and the healthy digestion pack and the diet, that you do the root beer belly every day, maybe for 1 month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. But once things start to shift and come around and you feel like you've gotten on the other side of it, your digestive issue, then you can leave off of the root beer belly. Leave off of the root beer belly and see what happens. Most people, once you change that oil, so to speak, and give your body the beneficial bacteria for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, then everything is good. And you shouldn't need to take that supplement all the time. But if you want to, there's no harm and no foul. If it's in the budget, there's no harm and no foul. I wouldn't take it at the exception of the 90 essential nutrients. The 90 essentials are mandatory for everybody to be taking every day. That needs to be dialed in. And once you have those bases covered, what the heck? If you like the way it tastes, and everybody does like the way it tastes, then there's no harm and no foul for taking it as long as you'd like.
Fantastic. Excellent. And my other thing I want to talk about, I'm really excited for your webinar tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be there. This is actually a topic that I love, because 10 years ago I suffered for 2 years from almost debilitating heartburn. I was in constant pain, and I was pretty much eating Zantacs like they were Tic Tacs. But of course, I was seriously, I was just popping them and I would get maybe a half an hour relief, and then I'd have to take another one. And I just almost start crying when I think about those 2 years of my life. I had horrible diarrhea, horrible heartburn, and the only thing that would help is constant Xanax, drinking milk, eating bread, because of course we're told, oh, bread absorbs the acid's the reason why you have heartburn, so you should eat more bread. So the more bread I ate, the worse I got. Now we know why, with all the gluten. And I never used to drink milk, and I was drinking milk like crazy. I was doing everything I could to neutralize the stomach acid, because that was the reason why I was so sick. Of course, it was my body's ability to produce stomach acid that was giving me heartburn and causing me so much pain. Well, one day I was watching TV, and all of a sudden I flipped through the channel, and there was a naturopath saying, you know, why don't you try going and drinking some apple cider, drinking something acidic, and see what happens. And she said, you know, there's this wonderful thing in the esophagus that, you know, actually responds to acid, and she explained the whole thing. And it was that moment when it was like taking the red pill, waking up, like you say, from the Matrix. I all of a sudden was like, wait, you mean pharmaceutical companies don't have my best interest at heart? And they're you know, they were producing Xanax not to help me, but, you know, just to, you know, possibly continue my suffering and continue the problem, and you know, taking antacids isn't the reason, you know, isn't the answer. So I in that day I just did a 180, started going the natural route, taking digestive enzymes, and very, very quickly my heartburn went away, and I've just been on the path of resonating with everything you say ever since. So this webinar, I am so excited, and everyone who's listening has got to participate in your webinar, because it's something that when people learn, it will wake them up, and they'll really get how powerful what you are saying, how powerful natural medicine is, and how powerful all the webinars you teach and your online subscription is for everyone to learn from.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and, you know, really, I appreciate it very much. And this is what we're all about here. We're all about information dissemination, because people suffer needlessly. You suffered for 2 years needlessly. I mean, needlessly. Why didn't your medical doctor know this? I know this. I didn't even learn this in naturopathic school. I learned this in pre-med. This is simple, straightforward physiology. This is not rocket science. And the fact that MDs don't know this is laughable. It's pitiable. And quite frankly, it should be illegal. It should be grounds for malpractice. And this is the problem that we're up against here, because there's a gigantic information gap. A gigantic information gap, because the only knowledge that we've gotten, the only information that we've gotten about health and, you know, what causes disease and how to fix disease is wrong. It's the people that think that the sun goes around the earth are telling us what to do for medicine. They're looking at it from exactly the wrong perspective. And because we don't know there's another way, because we don't have access to anything other than their way of doing things, we're all going to hell in a handbasket and quickly. And so this is why we do the webinars, right? This is why we have the online health recovery stuff. This is why we have the books and the CDs and the radio show, for goodness sake, in order to populate our message of health recovery through medical nutrition. I also am very excited for this webinar. Tomorrow night, folks, it's free. We do one free webinar a month, and tomorrow night it's 8 o'clock Central Time. Check it out right there on the front page of Fire Your MD Now. Ashley, thank you so much for the kind comments. Now, do you have time for one more question?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so fire away.
Oh, well, actually, this is just me, because I'm so curious, because of course I've listened to your radio show for so long. I know you've shared some stories in the past, but so that was really my big aha moment when that was my red pill moment, and I was just wondering if you could share with us what was one of those moments you had early on, like you said, maybe before pre-med or during pre-med, where your experience led you to see how everything's, you know, working, you know, the biggest difference between natural medicine versus pharmaceutical drug-driven disease management.
Well, all right. I appreciate that, and this will take us to the end of this segment, and then at the top of the next segment after the break, we're going to go right back to the phones and pick up Elaine, I think, who's been calling and waiting on hold patiently. So I appreciate the call, Ashley. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much for your call. Well, I'll tell you how it was for me, ladies and gentlemen. It was 1987. I was in the University of Massachusetts as a senior in the pre-med program, and I was going to conventional medical school. I had about 3-4 months left to graduate. And, you know, when you're a senior, you coast mostly, right? And I was coasting along, and I got really sick. I got really sick. I don't know what I had. Nobody knew what I had, but I was languishing in bed. I had fevers and chills. I had no appetite. I was wasting away, had no energy, couldn't lift myself up, had indiscriminate abdominal pains that would come and that would go. It was bad. And I'd gone to a number of different medical doctors because that part of Massachusetts was like MD central headquarters, right? And nobody could help me. Nobody could help me. As fate would have it, there were 2 licensed naturopathic physicians working in Massachusetts at that time. Only 2 in the whole entire state. One of them lived in the same town that I lived in. How about that? I was carried into this guy's office. I couldn't even pronounce naturopath, had no idea what it was, and I was a pretty arrogant pre-med student, let me tell you. I didn't know who this guy was. I was sure he was a quack, but what the heck? I got nothing to lose. Nobody else could help me. Let her rip. I'm carried literally into this guy's office. He laid me down on a table, poked around, drew some blood, asked me some questions, gave me a homeopathic medicine. Nothing happened. Scratched his chin, asked me a couple more questions, got a big old dusty book off the shelf, rifled through some of the pages, scratched his chin again, gave me a different homeopathic medicine, 2 little medicated pellets under my tongue. 2 minutes after I took the second medicine, my body started shaking. I went into the bathroom and purged this bilious, disgusting sludge. I don't know, 8, 10, 12, 14 ounces of this crap came out of me. And as soon as that stuff left my body, I felt like a Venetian blind had been unrolled from my toes to my head, and I was cured. I went home, slept for 17 hours, woke up the next day, born again, and 4 months later, I was a freshman at naturopathic medical school, and it was the best thing I've ever done. God works in strange ways, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. You don't know what you're missing. Stick around. Dr. Peter Glidden, we've had a little trouble with phones today. I appreciate your patience. We're going to go right to the phones right now. Elaine is up next. Elaine, thanks for the patience. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thank you so much for coming to Montana. I saw you in Kalispell a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it's a beautiful town up there. You really got it going on up in Kalispell.
We sure do. And a couple of things. I've got 2 people that I'm helping, and I want to get your take and make sure I'm doing everything just right. But first, I want to tell you just real quick, longevity's changed my life. And I'm 62 years old, and I just made 6 pounds of homemade butter. I got a homegrown chicken in the oven. I milk 3 cows twice a day, every day. I do the longevity business, and life is good.
You got to love it. I mean, really, once you start feeding your body the right stuff, everything turns around. It's a remarkable thing to be a part of. So you go, girl.
Oh, I'm going. All right. I have a 38-year-old young man that and this is an interesting story. First off, he's a chemist. So when I got him started, the only thing he took was the Healthy Start Pack, and he wanted to run some tests and make sure that it was good stuff, which he did say it turned out real well. But his problem is he's been diagnosed by a PSA test with prostate cancer. Now, whether he actually has prostate cancer is anybody's guess, but apparently 2.5 years ago he did have prostate cancer, and he did the chemo and all that stuff. And then he went to the doctor with back problems, and while he was there, this was just recently, they ran some blood tests, and they said his PSA numbers were high, and they started him on an experimental chemo drug that's not even available to the public. And a couple of days before he called me, he said he talked to his wife and they just couldn't do it anymore. His insurance wouldn't pay. He was out of pocket $4,000 the week before. And so I told him I thought longevity could really help him. So he got the Healthy Start Pack, and then I talked to him a few days later. Now, we haven't got him on everything else. I've got things I want to put him on, and that's what I want to run by you, like the Selenium, Cell Shield, Z-Radical, Glucogel, etc. But he just started with the Healthy Start Pack, and he told me that he had such a hard time going to pee, he had to sit down, and it felt like he was passing crushed glass, and the pain was excruciating. And he took the Healthy Start Pack for 2 days, and the pain was gone.
Yeah, you got to love it, right? So this is the thing. Well, number one, you know, for goodness sake, if you had a problem with your, you know, plumbing in your house, water heater, and you had a plumber come out to fix the water heater and, you know, charge you $1,000 and he installed a new water heater or what you thought was a new water heater and soldered the pipes, and then 6 months later the water heater explodes and the pipes leak, you're probably not going to go back to that same plumber, right? Well, people go back to the same plumber all the time, so they get, you know, diagnosed, heaven forbid, with prostate cancer, and then they get this chemotherapeutic treatment which has been proven to be not effective. Chemotherapy for chemotherapy for prostate cancer doesn't work. It's proven to be ineffective for that, and yet they do it anyway to make money. And so they do it, and then the cancer comes back, and then he goes back to the same medical professionals again. I mean, this is just insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. The only reason that he did that was because the only game in town when it comes to cancer treatment, the only legal game in town, is what the MDs do. Now, we don't treat cancer. It's illegal. We don't treat anything, for goodness sake, because there's no such thing as arthritis. There's no such thing. These diseases do not exist. You cannot bring me a box of cancer. You cannot bring me a box of arthritis. You cannot bring me a box of high blood pressure. These illnesses are intangible names that we have given to stuff that's going on inside a living, breathing human being. So, to support and promote the health of somebody's body, in the face of a diagnosis of cancer, especially if it's prostate cancer, and by the way, you cannot diagnose prostate cancer with PSA. That was proven a number of months ago. His doctors need to stay current with the research. You cannot diagnose prostate cancer just with a PSA test. It's irrelevant. You can't do it. It needs to be biopsies. That's the only way that you can do it. If there hasn't been a biopsy, then he doesn't know, quite frankly, what the heck is going on, and neither do his MDs. But, nonetheless, the recommendation would be 1 Healthy Start Pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, 4 bottles of selenium a month. I do not care how much he weighs. 4 bottles of selenium a month. As much Z-Radical as he can afford. If it were me, I would do 8 bottles of Z-Radical a month. And to top it all off, 2 bottles of Prost-FX a month, 2 bottles of Prost-FX, 8 bottles of Z-Radical, 4 bottles of selenium, and 1 Healthy Start Pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Plus, he must eliminate the 10 bad foods. You also, me also, everybody. Thanks for the call, Elaine. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Peter Glidden here. Welcome back. This is Fire Your MD Now. Please check the website out of the same name and dial it in for tomorrow's webinar, free webinar about heartburn, coming up in 27 hours and 25 minutes. T-minus 27, 25, and counting. Looks like Elaine had a second question. She's back. Thanks for calling back, Elaine. Sorry to cut you off. You are live again.
Oh, that's okay, Dr. Glidden. Yes, I have a 52-year-old lady that was scheduled for knee replacement surgery. In fact, I think like today. But we talked to her about longevity, and she ordered products. And this is her story. She has 0 cartilage in that knee. She has a high pain tolerance, so she's not in excruciating pain. But, of course, they want to do the knee replacement. And then the doctor told her that she'll need the other knee replaced probably 5 years down the road. So I got her on some products and got her going, and I just want to make sure that I got everything she needed.
Well, how much does she weigh?
She weighs 260, and I put her on 3 Healthy Start Packs and 3 240-count glucogel and a couple other products. Is there anything else you would recommend? And would you give her an encouraging word? She's really taken a jump of faith here.
Okay, so let me do some quick math. She's 260, so she needs 26 glucogel a day. 26 times 30, that equals 780. 780 divided by 240, that equals 3.25. So she needs 1 extra bottle of 120 count glucogel a month. Okay?
Okay.
So she needs 3 240 and 1 120. Give her, so she should be able to then parenthetically take 30 glucogels a day. 10 with breakfast, 10 with lunch, 10 with dinner. And that would be a good thing to do if she's bone on bone. The only other thing that you can add into the bargain would be selenium. Selenium supplementation will facilitate the deposition of the minerals onto the knee. So selenium supplementation really speeds the whole thing up. I would give her 4 bottles of selenium a month if she can afford it. And if there's still room in the budget, if she's really motivated to fix this, then the Z-Radical would be the last thing to do. Z-Radical, creates, improves, or what's the word I'm looking for? Stimulates stem cell activity. And stem cell activity is the stem cells are the things that grow things like cartilage. So anything we can do to stimulate stem cell activity is going to be beneficial in this regard. So if it's in the budget, give her 1, 2, 3, 4 bottles of Z-Radical a month. But the most important thing is the Healthy Start Packs, the selenium and the glucogel appropriate for body weight. Really, that's what needs to be dialed in. And listen, this is, nothing in life is guaranteed except death and taxes. But I tell you what, most of the time, as a matter of fact, I'd go out on a limb and say 99% of the time, people that have arthritis, and I don't care how bad it is, when they get on board with a properly directed medical nutrition program, the arthritic condition resolves. Because your body wants to fix it, the knee wants to fix itself. There is a point of no return, but nobody knows what that is. And even though the medical doctors, even though Harvard University published a study about 6 years ago that showed knee replacement surgery doesn't work, they actually published it. It doesn't work. Knee replacement surgery always fails. Knee replacement surgeons continue to do it. Why? Because it's their bread and butter and they don't give a crap. And that's all they know. It's a one-trick pony for them. So, it's just laughable what the MDs tell people to do. And you can't never unsurgery something, number one. So let's say that her situation has in fact gone so far that her body can't fix it. I doubt it, but let's just say, be the devil's advocate and say that that's what's going on. I doubt it, but let's just say that's the deal. So she's going to get the surgery. Well, I would rather go into a surgical theater having had 90 days of proper nutrition in my body than to go in tomorrow. Because surgery is a tremendous stress to the body. It's a tremendous stress. And when you're going to go under the knife for a surgery like that, you better be nutrified. So worst case scenario, the knee's too far gone to fix with medical nutrition, but the medical nutrition will make her body so strong that it will sail right through the surgery without any complications, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Sound good?
One other thing, she did go gluten-free, and I've talked to her about the getting off all the bad foods, and she's working on that. And she
all right, well, that's mandatory for everybody, and that's a given. Everybody that you talk to who's suffering with a chronic health condition needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods. There are no exceptions to that rule. Everybody, no matter what, I don't care if they're 6 months old, needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods. So good for you for taking a stand for the health of people in your community. I'm telling you what, the best is yet to come, and you ain't seen nothing yet. So go out there and get them. Thanks so much for the call, Elaine. You guys are really going to do some good stuff up there in Kalispell. Keep up the good work. All right. Next caller is Sam, I believe. Sam is calling with a question about something related to a heated pool, I think. Hey, Sam, thanks for the call. You are live.
Okay, thank you, and I'm grateful to be here. My question is, I have a client that's in the gym 5 days a week. She swims in a heated therapy pool for 30 minutes, and then she's in the hot tub for 20 minutes. And now she has developed a vagina odor. Other than telling her not to go there and swim and get in the pool, what can we give her to help her with that, if anything?
Well, we can't diagnose stuff over the phone, but if I had to take a guess at what this was, I would say it's an overgrowth of yeast. It's an overgrowth of vaginal yeast, which was, pretty much generated from the high heat of the stuff that she's doing, and also the hot tub, God only knows what's in there, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably an overgrowth of yeast in the vaginal canal, and so there's one way to fix that. You can get a tampon and soak it in colloidal silver and insert the tampon for 4 hours at a time, 3 times a day, and then 1 overnight. Soak it with colloidal silver, and the colloidal silver is antimicrobial, and it will kill the yeast. There's an old-fashioned naturopathic treatment for this, which is actually where you get a clove of garlic, and you peel it and mash it up just a little bit and insert the clove of garlic vaginally, and let the oils from the garlic kind of leach out into the vaginal canal, and that will also go a long way towards killing the yeast. I would look to see whether or not she's diabetic or pre-diabetic, or whether
Diabetic.
She is.
Yes.
All right, so then this is guaranteed drop-dead yeast, and the reason that happens is because yeast feeds on sugar, and diabetics have a problem metabolizing sugar efficiently, so sugar piles up in their blood, and then little critters in the body that feed on sugar, go crazy, and so that's probably what's happening here. So what I would do internally while we're doing this site-specific vaginal intervention, I would put her on one healthy blood sugar pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. One healthy blood sugar pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Now, counsel her that when she does that, she needs to be Johnny on the spot measuring her blood sugars just like the doctors told her to, because 99 times out of 100, when you do the healthy blood sugar pack, even if you're type 1 diabetic, insulin-dependent diabetic, your blood sugars come down dramatically, and you can dramatically decrease the amount of insulin that you have to inject every day. So if she starts the healthy blood sugar pack, which she should, counsel her to measure her blood sugars daily and to limit the amount of medication that she's taking as she has been instructed to do so. I've seen people be able to reduce their insulin intake by 70% in 3 weeks. So, you expect the blood sugar to improve. You expect the insulin or the metformin or whatever it is that they're taking to be reduced. And if it's type 2 diabetes, almost 100% of the people that I have helped who have had type 2 diabetes, when they go on this program, within 6 months, they don't have type 2 diabetes anymore. It's gone. So check it out. It's probably related to an overgrowth of yeast, but we always try to get to the root, rather than just looking at, it's a yeast infection. Well, what caused that to happen? Probably inappropriate levels of blood sugar in the body over an extended period of time. So that's how I would handle that. Thank you so much for the call. And by the way, if you'd like help ordering the supplements, that number is 855-347-3696. That's 855-347-3696. You can actually talk to a living, breathing human being, not a machine, not a recording. How about that? And they can help you to get the stuff at the wholesale price, or even talk you through the business opportunity, show you what's up with that, because you're going to love what's up with that. Thank you so much for the call, Sam. Sandra is up next. If you're still there, Sandra, thanks so much for waiting. You are live.
Thank you. A couple of things, couple small little mini comments here. I know you talked about a Dr. Semmelweis before, and by the way, my daughter was born in the Semmelweis Clinic in Vienna. So what do you think of that?
How about that?
There. And when you have a plugged breast, doctor there, milk doc,
yeah.
You know what they do?
What?
They take, they'll take a piece of paper towel, a little sour cream on it, another piece of paper towel, half an hour, it's gone.
Boy, you got to love that. So they put a paper towel against the blocked duct, and then they put sour cream on top of the paper towel?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you got to love that. I've never heard of that.
And
you
it
think
works.
Every single time, right?
Every time.
Wow, you got to love it. Yeah, Dr. Semmelweis, he was the guy that was the first one to say, hey, obstetricians should wash their hands before they deliver babies. And because that was such a radical idea in Semmelweis's day, how can disease be caused by these unseen germ things, right? It was like voodoo and witchcraft to conventional medicine. They bankrupted. Semmelweis is, he was, what's the word? He was despised by the medical community. He was cast out of the medical community. And, you know, I don't know how he died, but it wasn't well. And basically, because he took a stand to try to advance medicine, the conventional medical community hammered him. And it hasn't been until the 20th century that, looking back, now the medical profession says, oops, we made a mistake with Semmelweis, and now we need to try to honor him post-mortemly. And so they name clinics and stuff after him. But that's fascinating, isn't it? It's a small world, isn't it?
It is a small world. And I heard you talk about Hulda Clark once, and I thought, oh, wow, I did that cleanse before, too. How do you work it with the, what do you call it, that olive oil, the, how do you call it? You have to do something with the olive oil on that cleanse?
So Hildy Clark had a number of different cleanses, and her whole thing was that parasites are the cause of everything. And I knew Hildy Clark. I had my picture taken with her when she had like 2 years left to live, and she was not the epitome of health. You look at Dr. Wallach, I mean, you know, he looks like he's in his late 50s, early 60s. He's 74. Hildy Clark had one piece of the puzzle, but she thought it was the whole piece.
Kind of like the horse blinders. I kind of saw that one.
Yeah, that's correct.
You know.
Now,
but the cleanses are good.
Her gallbladder purge program is very good, but if you take digestive enzymes, the longevity digestive enzymes, because it has ox bile in it, that will go a long way towards helping your gallbladder dissolve the stones, and you won't need to do the cleanse, you won't need to do the purge. How about that? Hey, listen, stick around. We're up against a hard break. I'll take your question when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the luckiest day of your life. You've tuned in to Fire Your MD Now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're talking to Sandra. I think she has a question. What's up, Sandra?
Yeah, so I'm the girl that's going back to school to become a medical nutritionist, you know, the one in Connecticut. But I live in Michigan, so I have to take a couple classes here. Yeah. And my one nutrition class, which is driving me crazy because most of it is, you know, they tell you to take the baby aspirins and all this stupid nonsense.
Right.
But today, you know, they were talking about some things for cancer prevention, and I mentioned selenium. I just said, you know, that's it. Sometimes I just have to open my mouth. She goes, well, where, you know, if you can send me a link to this, great. You know, so is there some kind of link? Because she's going to question everything. I'd like to send her a link.
Journal of the American Medical Association, December 1998. Larry Clark was the author. That's JAMA. December 1998. Larry Clark was the author, and that's the expose on selenium. Now, Dr. Wallach sued the Food and Drug Administration for something called a certified health claim about selenium. And in order to get a certified health claim by the FDA, you have to show them mountains of research evidence. I mean mountains. They brought in literally truckloads of boxes filled with research on selenium. So you could also just go to publicmed.com and type in selenium and see what pops up. You will be amazed. One of the greatest myths that exists in the world is that medical nutrition is not research. There's no research to support it, that vitamins just give you expensive urine. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie, and anybody who says it should be pilloried in the town square, quite frankly, and excommunicated from the country, in my opinion. So look, you go, girl. Keep up the good work. You are the last best hope your community has for living a long and healthy life, and don't put much weight on 90% of the stuff that they teach you in school.
I know.
But
I hope you're coming to Michigan soon here.
I understand why you're doing it. Yeah, I'll have to check my schedule. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate the work that you're doing. All right, it looks like we skipped right over Lisa, and we have time for one last question. Lisa, sorry about that. Welcome aboard. You are live.
Oh, that's okay, Dr. Glidden. How are you today?
Good, thanks. Thanks for the call.
Okay, so I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Yep.
And because I kept doing some more research, I found another doctor, and he tested me for different viruses.
Yeah.
And it came back that I had, and I never heard of this before, but human parvo.
Yeah, parvovirus, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's herpes 6. It's the non-STD herpes.
Yeah, okay, well, it's irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with your condition. Your condition was discovered by the veterinarians 35 years ago. The same thing happens. It's, you know, Fibromyalgia happens in animals, and when it happens in animals, it's called white muscle disease. When it happens in sheep, it's called white muscle disease, and veterinarians learned how to eliminate fibromyalgia 35 years ago. If a sheep develops white muscle disease, it gets an injection of selenium. Fibromyalgia, if it is fibromyalgia, is a selenium deficiency. It's got nothing to do with the virus. It's got nothing to do with the virus. And, you know, I did a webinar on influenza a couple of weeks ago. It's in the archives on my website, fireyourmdnow.com. I go into some detail about the whole path, what the heck a virus is and what it does, and we don't know anything about viruses. To lay this off at the feet of the parvovirus is juvenile, quite frankly. So, but look, you know, the rubber hits the road in results. So my recommendation to you to support and promote the health of your musculoskeletal system when you're in the face of a definitive diagnosis or even a presumptive diagnosis of fibromyalgia is, drum roll please, 1 healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, 1 bottle of selenium per 50 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 extra bottle of selenium. So this is one of the few times that I recommend people take extra selenium. You're going to need it. Plus, eliminate, please, the 10 bad foods from your diet. And you can get a list of the 10 foods for free by going to my website and opting in for my monthly newsletter. It's all free, and when you opt in for the newsletter, you'll be redirected to a page where you can download my good food, bad food list, and life is good. Now, if you want help ordering these supplements at the wholesale price, 855-347-3696 is the number to call. That's 855-347-3696. Most people who I help with fibromyalgia are completely over it in 8 weeks. Completely over it. It's a simple nutrient deficiency. Fill your body's tank up, eliminate the 10 bad foods, get the hell out of the way, and see how far back you bounce. You're going to love how you feel. Thanks for the call. Sorry for the wait. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. See you tomorrow. It's webinar day tomorrow. Don't miss it.